So I'm going to take just a few minutes and talk about a couple different ways you can approach drawing this floor plan. What I've done here is I've used the line command, and I've drawn the exterior face of the exterior walls of our first floor plan. And let me bring up the PDF here for just a minute. So I've just come around, can start at any of the corners and kind of come around just doing that exterior face. So then what I want to do is I want to use my offset command to create the thickness of the exterior walls. And the exterior walls on this are 6 inches wide. So I'm going to type in O to get into offset, and there's a number of different ways to get into the commands. And I know that um, the demo in the lecture kind of goes through in more depth how to use the line command and the offset command. So I'm going to go through that a little bit faster here. Just make sure you're always reading your command prompt to see what it's asking for. So I've already got my 6-inch distance in here, so I'm going to hit enter. It's asking me for the object I want to offset. I'm going to select each of my lines and offset them to the inside of the plan. I'm going to do this all the way around. Then what I want to go through is I want to go through and clean all of these corners. So we can do that using the trim command. I can type in TR and go into trim, select the lines I want to trim, hit enter, and then select the pieces I want to trim off. I can also use the fillet command and make sure my radius is set to 0 and select the two lines that I want to make the 90-degree. And I can do that with ones that overlap as well as ones that don't quite meet yet. So either way, so just go all the way around and clean up all the corners. Then we're ready to start doing the interior walls. And right now I'm drawing on a wall. I was drawing on a wall exterior, and now I want to switch it to a wall interior. You can also still be drawing just on layer 0 and then move the objects to the layers later. We're going to do that in another assignment. But if you want to go ahead and give layers a shot, go right ahead. So now I've got my interior walls. I'm going to look at my dimensions, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter the line command, and I'm going to start here from this corner, and I'm just going to kind of push my cursor to the right. And I can do this, you can see I'm getting this dashed green line. I can do this because I've got my object snap tracking activated here. It's a really useful tool when you're drafting. So you can kind of hover over this, push it to the direction you want to go until you get that dashed line, and then type in the distance you want to go. So in this case it would be 14'3". And then I'm going to bring this line all the way down to the exterior wall because I know that the line of that wall continues all the way down even though there's some openings in it. So now I'm going to use my offset command again, and this time I want to make my wall thickness 5 inches because my interior walls are all going to be 5 inches. So I'm going to select my line and go to the right. Now I'm going to zoom in here just a little bit. I want to just double check because I know this interior wall should line up with the face of this exterior wall. So I want to just kind of keep double checking myself as I go through. So now what I want to do is I'm going to put in this wall, this horizontal wall here, and I'm going to do that the same way. I'm going to kind of come up here to my endpoint and push my cursor down, and then I'm going to type in 13'7", and I'm going to come across to the outside face of this wall. And again, I'm going to offset 5 inches to get the thickness of the wall. So now what we can do, we can start to get the elements that fall in here. And what I'm going to do this time, I'm going to use the offset command to place my walls. So I'm going to type in O, and then I'm going to offset 7'2". Take this one and go across, and then I'm going to offset that one by 5 inches. And then I want to offset 4'6". Now we're getting into that stair wall. Offset another 5 inches. And then, let's see, I'm going to offset, and this time I'm going to offset 3'10", but I want to select this interior one because that's where the dimension is taken from. You want to always just double check which face of the wall the dimensions are taken from. I'm going to offset 5 inches to get this wall thickness, and I'm going to come in here, I'm going to go ahead and clean up this corner so I can double check and make sure everything's hitting at the right spot, and it is. And then let's see, then let's go ahead and put in the horizontal walls that are in this area. So I'm going to go back to my line command now and find that endpoint, push the cursor up and type in 5'5" and come across. And this time I'm going to offset 5 inches. I'm going to offset down because it was to the outside face of the wall. Then I can offset 4 foot. And offset 5 inches. And offset 7'7". And then come back down 5 inches. Alright, so now I'm getting kind of a, it's starting to get a little bit confusing as to what's where. So I'm going to start trimming some areas so that I can see better where I'm at. So the first one I want to trim is I'm going to trim these walls here. And to do that, I'm going to type in my TR for trim. And this time I'm going to select everything. And the way to do that is I just hit enter. And then I can just use a crossing window and select these areas that I want to trim out, and see it's giving me a preview of what it's going to trim, which is really helpful. And then just hit enter to get out of the command. So now I've got that area trimmed. Let's come up here and put in these openings. I'm going to go into my line command and go to the right 3'8". And again, you can do this with an offset as well. And let me offset 6'1" to get this opening. And again, I'm going to trim. And then let's get this opening here. I'm going to offset 4 feet. And we can trim. And I'm going to just, again, hit enter to select everything. And then I can just kind of go in here and trim out the extra pieces. So now I'm kind of getting a better idea of where all of my walls are. So you just want to kind of keep going through. Use the line command, the offset, trim, fillet. Those are going to be the main ones that you use. Now I want to show you one other way that you could create your exterior wall. And to do this, I'm going to go onto my A wall exterior layer. And this time I'm going to use the P-line command. And the P-line command, what it does is, I'm going to type in PL, and it asks me to start at a point, and I'll show you kind of how this works. And I'm going to cheat a little bit and just go over my lines that I already have, and then I'll move it off to the side. Oops. Let me go back into here. I've got a thickness on mine. So P-line, and then my width, I want to set back to 0. All right. Now we're going to go back through and just click on each of these points. And you can see there's kind of a little cross there to show where you started. And I'm just going to type in C to close it. Now I'm going to move the P-line off to the side. Oops. There we go. And what you'll notice about a P-line is it's all one object instead of being, line, line, line. The nice thing about that is, in using this for your exterior walls, is you can use the offset command then and offset it by 6. And you offset the whole thing to the inside. And if you zoom in then, you can see that your corners are already all cleaned. Now the one thing I would do then is to explode it, and I'm just going to type in X and select everything, and then it explodes it back to lines, just because the lines are then just a little bit easier to deal with, especially as you're offsetting to get the interior. So anyway, that's just another way to do that. So I'm going to erase this. I'm going to next show you a little bit about how to start the second floor. And with the second floor, what you want to do, you want to think about the fact that the second floor is going to line up with areas of the first floor. So it's easier if you have your plans lining up where they naturally would. So I'm going to take a line, and I'm going to come from this corner here, and I'm going to draw this over to here. And then I think we also line up, well, we'll just start with that one because that's fine. So we'll just kind of randomly take a line here to give ourselves some place to start from. And we know that this left side of the second floor is going to be 34 foot 6. So I'm going to do an offset. And this time I'm going to do 34 foot 6. And I'm going to take this line and just offset it here. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clean up these lines a little bit just so I can see where I'm at. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by drawing a line. I'm going to start at this end point and I'm going to just push it over to the side and type in my 14 foot 8, and then I can keep working my way around the perimeter. So just double check what that one is. That one should be 6 feet, and then come across 21 foot 10. Whoops. 21 foot 10. You gotta make sure you're going in a straight line, and come down 20 foot 5. And then come in my 4 foot 11. And then I'm going to go ahead and come down here. Now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to check my distance here. I'm going to use the distance command. I'm just going to type in DI and select my endpoint to my endpoint. And then I'm going to have to scroll up here just a little bit, or pull my command prompt up so I can see. So it's telling me that that distance is 20 foot 1 inch, which is, according to my dimensions, what I want it to be. So now I'm going to just do my fillet here so that I can trim up that corner. Now this wall here is going to extend out by 4 feet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an offset by 4 feet of this line, and then I'm going to extend, and I'm just typing in EX to extend. I'm going to select this is the line I want to extend it to, hit enter, hit the object that I want to extend, hit enter to exit that. And then I'm going to leave that line there. And then what we can do is we can do our offset to get our thicknesses. So I'm going to offset by 6 inches and go all the way around my plan again. And again, I'm going to go through and I'm going to clean up all of my edges here, all of my corners. And then once I have all of them cleaned up, I'm then going to go in and do my interior walls just like I did on the first floor. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take this plan here, and I just want to show you, if I take it and I say I'm going to move it, I pick it up by this end point and I bring it over here and lay it on top of my first floor, you can see that it's lining up really nicely with where it should. So that's a good way to double check that your dimensions are correct, because if your exterior walls are not correct, then everything, it's kind of a snowball effect. The interior walls won't be correct, and it just keeps getting more and more difficult. So you want to be really, really sure that these exterior perimeter walls are the correct length and that they're drawn accurately. So like I said, just keep using that line command, offset, trim, fillet, extend, all of those, and try some different things. It's important to kind of experiment and see what the different things do, but hopefully this will help kind of get you started with getting these plans drawn.